printer? Campbell's.
Good. This morning, Campbell's Soup is denying claims about its products, allegedly made by an executive in a recorded conversation. The person in the recording is also heard belittling Campbell's customers during an expletive-filled rant.
We have that's for poor people. Who buys our I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's unhealthy. Now that I know what the in it, I can eat bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
The recording is allegedly from a conversation that's now part of a lawsuit filed by Robert Garza, a cybersecurity analyst for Campbell's, who claims he was fired after reporting the alleged remarks, which he says also included racist comments about company employees. Garza claims Campbell executive Martin Bally made those comments after the two met to discuss Garza's salary. In a statement, Garza's attorney saying, "This situation has been very hard on Robert. He thought Campbell's would be thankful that he reported Martin's behavior, but instead, he was abruptly fired." Campbell's responding, saying, "If the comments were in fact made, they are unacceptable. They do not reflect our values and the culture of our company." And going on to say, "The comments heard on the recording about our food are not only inaccurate, they are patently absurd."
Nothing melts away the cold like a delicious hot bowl of Campbell's soup.
Campbell saying, "The chicken meat used in our soups comes from long-trusted USDA-approved U.S. suppliers and meets our high-quality standards." And the company noting, Bally worked in IT and had nothing to do with food production. Bally is on leave, pending a company investigation. In the meantime, the Attorney General in Florida, a state that bans lab-grown meat, says his office is now investigating Campbell's products. We reached out to Martin Bally, but did not hear back. Campbell says it has not been able to verify the recording.
Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakorash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone and taught us his truth. And a sincere Shalom to the hopeful elect that's out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom to you all. Yeah, man, as you see, this is not a good look for Esau, man. You know, and it's starting to become more and more evident by the day that this man's got to fucking go. This man's the devil. You see? You can't even buy a can of soup. You know? And it's funny, man, because I had a conversation with the brethren a while back talking about how, you know, because one of the brothers, he likes to make juices. He likes to make, you know, all type of different fruit juices and vegetable juices, and, you know, it's very good for you. And I was telling him, you know, I was thinking like, you know, we should be able to just go to the store and be able to buy fresh made juice whenever we want. We shouldn't have to go reading the ingredients and, you know, looking through 10 different juices to find one that's least bad for you, because they're all bad ultimately. When you read the ingredients, you know, 99% of these juices out here are concentrate, you know, which is they make the juice, they boil the water out of it, they ship the juice powder to another factory, then they add water back into it and basically remake the juice or bring it back to life. You know, which you kill a lot of the benefits doing that bullshit, and it's really just dead juice. All right? And a lot of times that's in the best case scenario. You know, usually they add a bunch of other chemicals and bullshit to that. All right? But, you know, just going back to this topic with this Campbell's chicken noodle soup, man, you know, does this surprise me? Not at all. And it shouldn't surprise you brothers out there, man. We've been making videos telling you there's no excuse for not cooking at your own house, man. You know, if you're sick, get your sick ass up and go make yourself some soup, man. It's really not that hard. You know, don't buy this Campbell's. Don't buy anything without reading the ingredients, man. And if you read the ingredients, I guarantee you'll figure out real quick that you shouldn't be eating that shit anyway, man. All right? But even from the shit you read in the ingredients, best believe, you know, there's probably other stuff they're putting in there, man. But that's all we got to go by. So, you know, do the best you can. You know, that's all we can do, brethren. We're in captivity. The scriptures prophesied that these things would happen to us. And, you know, 8, we're in the time where the Lord is exposing these devils on a very high level, man. You've got these Israelis over there being exposed. You know, they're out here spending millions of dollars to retrain ChatGPT because, you know, some of the responses it gives, they want to make sure that they're all pro-Israel. You see, defending those people over there who are clearly wicked as all hell. All right. And so they're spending millions of dollars to spew out propaganda, you know, making themselves look good when, you know, they can't hide anymore, man. Their shit's coming out. All this stuff is coming to the light, man. All right. You know, and it's really all these Edomites. Okay. These Edomites are the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. These Edomites are the problem in this world, man. All right. This is Psalms chapter 64 and verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Okay, and what you see in this clip is an example of that, man. These Edomites are telling on themselves, telling on other Edomites, exposing these other Edomites for their wickedness, man. You see? And, you know, there's a lot of things wrong with this video, man. All right, the fact that the guy that brought this conversation up and was complaining about racism, okay, and he ended up getting fired, man. You see? And, you know, and then the CEO who's actually in charge of bringing out this fake meat, nobody investigates him. Or maybe they said they would investigate him, but will they really? No. You know? You see, because this place is the valley of the shadow of death, man. This is the kingdom. This is the perfect example of what happens when wickedness rules on the earth, man. All right, let's get Job 9 and 24. This is Job 9 and 24. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. And the wicked, according to Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, is Esau. All right. Also known as the Edomites, the red people, right? Which are really the so-called white man here on the earth. They call themselves white, but they're really red. You know, that's a form of propaganda that they have. They're calling themselves white and they called us black. They called us Latinos, you know, Native Americans, all right? All these words that are not ours. We're the Israelites of the Bible, man. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the greatest people on the planet Earth. You see, and they understand they got to keep us in a dumbed down state in order to continue to usurp authority over us, man. And that's part of the reason also. It's not just money. You know, like they said, this stuff goes to poor people, quote unquote poor people. And we know the poor are the Israelites, right? The majority of people in poverty are the Israelites, man. Okay, and that's why they're giving you these Frankenstein foods, Jake. It's time to wake the fuck up, man. All right, you want this man to be saved? Look at what he's doing to the food, man. These devils are out here. They have whole industries, you know, and Campbell's is part of a larger company, if I'm not mistaken. You'd have to, you know what? Let's look it up right here. Let's look it up real quick. Let's see. I think it may just be Campbell's. Is Campbell's part of a larger company? Because a lot of these food companies, they're just sub-brands. There's only like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. It's a small number of companies that own all these food products out here. All right. So yeah, it looks like Campbell's is the main one. How many sub-companies under Campbell's? Campbell's has over 20 brands in its portfolio, but the number of subsidiary companies is much larger. Golly, see that? It says companydata.com reports that Campbell's owns approximately 1,528 subsidiaries globally, with a number of its well-known brands including Goldfish, Prepridge Farms, Pace, Prego, and V8. You know, and don't none of y'all be drinking that V8 bullshit. That's full of high fructose corn syrup. You see? The same people, man. You can't see now. You watch this video, you think, well, I just won't eat Campbell's. Well, no, man. Half the fucking food in the store is made by the same people. You see? This is why we tell you there's no excuse for not cooking. Buy your meat in the meat section, you know, raw, and buy your vegetables in the produce section, right? And if you have to buy something that's packaged, you better read them ingredients, man. You know, don't believe that goddamn label, man. You know, Ciroc 12 and 10, real quick. Ciroc 12 and 10. All right, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. We know that Esau, Edom, is our enemy, and like the scriptures say, we have to go to him for the want of all things. Because of our sins, man. Our people went off, worshiping idols, playing the whore. You know, the Lord gave us that bill of divorce. And so we got to serve our captivity. Part of our captivity is, you know, it was prophesied that we would have to go to Esau for the want of all things, right? In nakedness. Let's get it real quick. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Let's see. Give me just 1 second. Here we go. Deuteronomy 28. And we'll start at verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Right? We didn't serve the Lord. So what happened to us as a nation? Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. And right now we're serving our enemies. You know, we're working for these so-called white people. We got to. We ain't got a choice. You know, that's part of our sentence. You know, that's how we make rent. That's how we buy this bullshit food that, you know, we have to eat. All right. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. Right. We got to go to him for food, clothes, water. All right. Right. We got to buy freaking water. That's a whole nother problem, man. Water's free. All right. It says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Right. Just look at the transatlantic slave trade, the Spanish conquest. All right. And look at modern day America, man. You got to work 3 jobs to live in a cardboard box. You see, this is the world that this devil Esau has created, man. And he has to be taken out of rulership, man. All right. This is Habakkuk 1 and 4. Therefore the law is slack and judgment doth never go forth. Right. Why didn't they get rid of that CEO? They got rid of the guy that exposed the shit, you know, and complained about racism. And then they deny it and cover it all up. You see, that CEO, that motherfucker should be sitting in a jail cell, man. Not Jake. You got Jake out here getting falsely accused, serving life in prison, man. You got Jake going to prison for minor little shit. You know, they might have been selling grass. You know what I mean. And they'll be there for 40 years, bro. But this guy can sell Frankenstein meat and lie to the people and hold a fucking monopoly over the whole world. This guy's responsible. You know, whoever the CEO is, he's responsible for millions of people, you know, dying young, man. With all these fucking fake products, man. How many people die of obesity every year? How many people die from, you know, illnesses, man? Cancers. That all comes from this food, this fake shit. You see? That's that bloody man, man. You know, he was a murderer from the beginning. You see? He continues, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Right? You complain about racism at your job, you're going to get fired, bro. You expose some wickedness, you're going to get fired. The law's not going to be on your side unless you got lawyers and a shit ton of money. You know, like the scriptures say, a gift destroyed the heart, man. You know, let's get that real quick. This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Hey, that's why we're angry, bro. All right, all you people out here saying you Hebrew Israelites, you're just a bunch of disgruntled men. It's like, well, you should be disgruntled, man. You should be angry that you live in this hellhole. All right, but you're too busy in la la land, man, because you people don't want to accept the truth. You're too soft. You can't accept the truth that life is a nightmare, man. We accept it, you know. And it's not just that we disgruntled, man. We telling the truth. But because you tell the truth, you just want to act like we're a bunch of angry losers. You simple-minded idiots out there, man. All right? I'm going to read it again. Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Right? If you're wise, you would be mad at this oppression. You know, we can't even go buy real food at the store, man. You should be angry about that. Right? We can no longer afford housing. We can no longer drink clean water, man. They put all type of fluoride and shit in the water. They put it in your toothpaste. You got to buy different products just to stay away from the shit. Then you got to go outside and breathe the chemtrails, man. You can't escape this shit, man. You see? And a gift destroyeth the heart. Right? That's the point I wanted to bring out. A gift destroyeth the heart. Okay, all these judges taking bribes, all these lawyers, okay, these CEOs are never going to get put in jail on this side, man. The only time that's going to happen is when the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, returns. And we're going to put all these CEOs, all these freaking international banking families, these high-level leaders, Edomites, man, they're going into slavery, head first into slavery. That's where they're going, man. That's the only use these Edomites have, man. They can't make good decisions for the world or even for themselves, man. Here they are oppressing their own fucking people, because how many so-called white people eat Campbell's soup and all the other garbage products they sell, man? You see, they don't care about their own kind, man. He who is evil to himself, to whom will he do good? All right? Fucking destroying the whole world, man. The ocean is full of plastic, oil spills. Even space is filled with these fucking satellites that are breaking apart into pieces, going 10 times faster than a bullet around the earth. Dozens of little fragments. They can't send nothing up there because it's risky, man. You see? You know, if they want to do long-term stuff, now they can't. They fucked up space. They fucked up the ocean. They fuck up the air. You know, causing global warming. You know? All that bullshit, man. That's them. You know? Yeah, this place got to go, man. All right? But like I said, this was prophecy that this would happen. Our people would be scattered in these different nations, and we would eat this defiled food, man. This is Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13. And Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. See? You see, the Lord will drive us into these Gentile nations to serve captivity for our punishment. And what will happen there, we will eat defiled food. All right? This food is very defiled, man. You know, you can't even buy anything where they don't try to slip pork in it. You know, all these Frankenstein meats, now they're cloning meats. Kill baits of hell is said to have been had a hand in putting cloned meats in the stores. They're slipping it into the stores, and they don't need your permission. Here in capitalist America, they don't need your permission. They can just put it in there and just call it a fancy name, and that's it. If anybody complains, as you saw here, they just cover that shit up, sweep it under the rug, and fire the dude. You see? Yeah, man. But what does this word mean in the Hebrew? We're going to grab the word defiled in the blue letter. All right? And the word defiled is... Give me 1 second. The word is ta, ma. Yeah, tama. Tama. And what does it mean? Well, tama means unclean, impure. So it's unclean, it's impure. Okay, let's get the word defiled in the dictionary real quick, just to go a little deeper. It says foul in a religious sense, defiled. So I'm grabbing defiled in the dictionary. Desecrate or profane. All right. Yeah, it's not really going into anything in the dictionary, but yeah, man, basically it's unclean, it's impure, man. A lot of the foods you buy, if you go buy cheese, if you go buy, you can go on the website on certain cheese companies, you know, they'll say one of the ingredients will be enzymes or rennet, something like that. And it's either beef or pork. So you got to go on their website or call the number and ask them specifically, and they'll tell you. You know, sometimes it'll say vegetable rennet or, you know, enzymes made only from vegetables. Or you can go on their website and under the frequently asked questions, you know, certain brands, they don't have the pork in it, or so they say. But other brands, all they got to do is put a word in there, natural this, natural that, or, you know, more commonly, it'll just say rennet, or it'll just say, what the fuck does it say? Enzymes, right? Because enzymes can come from anything, right? So all they got to do is say enzyme, and you don't see the word pork. You don't see the word, you know, whatever. Okay? All you see is that word enzyme. And that's how they trick you. You see, because, and there's a good precept to that. It says he frameth mischief by law, man. Let's get that real quick. All right? This is Psalms 94:20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? Right? They make these laws where you're allowed to put bullshit in the food as long as it falls under a certain category. And then they hold themselves not guilty. When all these people die, all these people, you know, are suffering from all these illnesses. All right, but guess what? They have another money-making machine for that. So the first money-making machine was to get you sick and sell you cheap garbage. Then the second money-making machine is to sell you a bunch of pills and fake treatments that don't work. All right, y'all already know what industry that is. All right. Yeah, man, but this shit is through. We got to get the fuck up out of here, man. This is why we hasten the coming of the day of the Lord, man. We got to hasten the coming, or we got to hasten the day. You know, we pray that Yahweh Shai come as soon as possible, man. We don't want to spend one more second in this kingdom, man. We look forward to Jacob's trouble. We look forward to the MLTB being mandated for buying and selling. We look forward to all hell breaking loose and ultimately thermonuclear destruction here in America. All right, and also in Israel and throughout the world, man, because other places are going to get hit as well. You know, the chariots of the Lord are going to be shooting laser beams out, destroying these different monuments and these different people out here, these heathens. You know, and 2/3 Jake, because you held hands with your oppressor. Guess what? Though hand join in hand, the wicked will not go unpunished, man. All right, this devil will be punished no matter how bad you want to save him, Jake. You see? All right, this is Sirach chapter 10 and verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. That's right, man. This shit is unprofitable. All right, what type of society is basically created for these parasites at the top to just funnel money into their pockets and everybody else just gets sick and they can't function? You call that a productive society? You know, people can barely work without ankle pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain. They're all fucked up because the ingredients are unprofitable, man, these foods. This isn't conducive to life on the earth. You know, this society sucks, man. Nobody can get anything done. Everybody's stressed out constantly. For what? For a small group of these so-called white men at the top to enjoy their rulership, man. They don't even share rulership with their own run-of-the-mill trailer trash Edomites out here. A lot of these Edomites are doing as bad as Jake, you know? And that shows you we're at the end, man, because there's a scripture that talks about that in Deuteronomy chapter 30. Or let me look it up real quick. Deuteronomy 30, 30 and verse 7. It says, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." That's right, you see? So all these curses that we had to endure, you know, going to these devils for the one of all things, being in captivity, eating defiled foods, hey, that's falling on the heathen now. Now you got these so-called white people out here getting all types of illnesses, young, all fucked up, man. You know? I've seen it. We're at the end, man. When the so-called white man's exposing a so-called white man, that's a kingdom divided, and a kingdom divided cannot stand. All right, this place is on its way out the fucking door, and good fucking riddance, man. All right, Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 6. You know what? Let's start at verse 5. "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood." That's right. All these ancient wars were fought with swords, spears, bows and arrows, shields, even fists and knives. Right? It continues, "But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." That's right. Because the final war, the war to end all wars, is going to be a thermonuclear war. You know, as we preach often, man. All right. Verse 6. "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given." All right. That son is Yahweh Shai. "And the government shall be upon his shoulder." That's right. Because he's coming to establish the kingdom of heaven here on the earth. A righteous government wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. That's what we're looking forward to. All right. It continues. "And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." That's right, because we're going to have peace. All right, rest will be allowed here. We're not going to be working people to death. All right, now during the first 1,000 years of hardcore slavery that all you heathen are going to have to go through, all right, especially you Edomites, yeah, you're going to be put through pure hell. The only day you're going to rest is on the Sabbath. And every day other than the Sabbath, you're going to be going through pure hell. Just like you put us through pure hell. We're going to work you to the fucking bone, man. But after those 1,000 years are up, the rest of the heathen, all right, after we eliminate Esau, they're going to be able to actually enjoy our rulership, man. And they're going to agree that we should have been ruling from the beginning, man. They're going to agree. You see, they're going to see it. You know, because, you know, this world was created for the Israelites, man. Starting with Yahweh Shai and the rest of the elect. All right. You know, the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. You know, it was created for us to rule, man. And we're the only ones who were given the blueprint. You know, we were the only ones who were given the instructions on how to rule this place. Everybody else, all these other heathens, especially Esau, they'll run this planet into the ground if you allow them to, man. All right, this is what you see here, man. The people are done. You know, these people are out here rioting, losing their mind, crashing out, you know. But yeah, man, it continues in verse 7. "Of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end." That's right, man. The kingdom of heaven is going to be so perfect. It's unimaginable, man. And it's only going to grow and become greater and more peaceful, more amazing. You know, like this kingdom right here, this fucking kingdom, this wicked ass kingdom gets worse by the fucking day. You see? You can't even buy a can of soup already made. Nope. You got to make everything from scratch. And, you know, I make almost everything from scratch. And if I have to buy something like a can of beans or something, I'll read the ingredients, man. If there's more than 2 or 3 ingredients, I don't buy that bullshit, man. You know, a can of beans should just say beans, water, and salt. You know, I haven't found one that just says beans. All right, but you know, hey, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. But all this other shit, fucking things you can't even pronounce, colors, dyes, anti-caking agents, fuck all that shit, man. You gotta understand, everything you put in your body is gonna affect how you operate on every level, man. Spiritually, physically, and mentally, man. Because you gotta understand, it's like the gas you get in your car, man. It's like the oil you put in your car. You know, you can't put bacon grease in your fucking engine. You know, well, we shouldn't even be touching that shit, but you know, let me not use that example. You know, you can't put chicken grease in your engine, all right, and run your car off, you know, vodka. You know, you probably could for a little bit, and then it'll blow up, just like your body will if you keep eating this bullshit. You see? But yeah, man, back in Isaiah 9 and 7, I'm going to read it again. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom to order it. That's right, that throne of David's coming back. You know, King David's going to be raised up. He's going to be our king, right, under Yahushua. And it's going to be like the time of David. During the time of David, during the reign of King Solomon, we subdued the nations and there was perfect peace on the earth. We were all in prestigious positions, okay, making tons and tons of I wouldn't even say money. We had real wealth. We had land, we had gold, silver, precious gems, precious metals, cattle, you know, all type of animals, slaves of the other nations, and they were paying tribute to us. You know, we would have them as slaves. And then those of them that were in their own lands, they had to come and give us tribute. You know, they had to pay taxes to us. That's coming back through Yahushua, man. All right? That's that throne of David. It says, it continues, and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. Right, justice and judgment, something we don't have here in America. Here in America, the biggest criminals are the richest, most powerful, most protected people in the world. All right? And the Israelites, the people who are made in the image of God, of the Most High, they're the ones sitting in prison, man. They're the ones poor as hell at the bottom of the barrel, being blamed for everything by this false accusing devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right? Back in Isaiah 9 and 7, it continues. The zeal of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts will perform this. That's right, man. The zeal of the Lord, man. Hey, Yahushai is so ready to fuck you nations up, man, and set up righteousness here on the earth, man. Yahushai is angrier than we are. Those of you out there talking shit about the Hebrew Israelites, you're so angry. Y'all just angry. That's all it is. You're simple-minded. You can't understand that the anger has knowledge and wisdom behind it, man. There's a time to be happy and there's a time to be angry. There's a time for everything under the sun, man. All right. The scriptures talk about there's a time for peace. There's a time for war. Okay. But you people can't get that because you're simple-minded, man. All right. But yeah, man, that's it. That's all I wanted to go into. I pray this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Chakurash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us his truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful elect that's out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom. Wa. Abad Babal. Shalom.